Hey, welcome to the channel. In this one I'm going to be designing Mangler, driver of the Rip Runner, which I did in the last video. It's one of the Vermech faction vehicles, Feral Engines. If you're new, Feral Engines is a vehicle combat game with like hero shooter elements. I'm making it with a small indie team. I'm the artist on the team, and Vermechs are one of the factions, like small cybernetic rodents and small mammals with like ramshackle diesel punk vehicles. So yeah, let's get started. So in keeping with the theme, what I discussed in the last video with the Rip Runner, it's a kind of a melee vehicle, so it needs to get into close range by ramming into the other vehicles to do the most damage. So it's kind of a really fast class, and it obviously rewards high risk gameplay. So it's a glass cannon kind of character, and I wanted to show the fact that this character would be a little menacing despite being quite small. Originally I was dancing around the idea of maybe a ferret, but I decided on a shrew. I think I did touch on that in the last video, but I settled on it because the idea of this tiny little creature that's really scary and commands a lot of fear is quite a fun idea. While the Vermech faction is comprised of cybernetic creatures, I thought this character should be very cybernetic in terms of what damage has been done to it. So maybe they've got a lot of exterior damage on their body and that's been reconstructed. Eventually I decided maybe one side of the character has been the most damaged, like they've been in some kind of very, deadly crash and they've managed to survive. And one side of the body has road rash all the way down one side, and they've lost the limb on the same side and the hand. I think that's a cool way to tell a story in the character. It kind of shows that they've been through hell and they're not scared to get injured or hurt, which is another way of showing this character should get close into melee and do a little more damage. So I'm quite happy with the direction I'm in right now, so I'll just continue down this and try and refine it a little bit. The idea of the road rash has kind of got into my head now, so I decided against giving it a full robotic arm because it's quite similar to Hub's, and I didn't want to get it with full robotic legs either because that's very similar to Cap, so I went somewhere along the middle by adding just a robotic hand. I was playing with the idea of a robotic eye as well, but considering that's mostly Hubs' look, I decided against it and just did the robotic limb and scarring on the face. So at this point I started to block in his overall silhouette, and I kind of wanted to get across this compact, scrappy look. So he's mostly round, but the things that break this small round silhouette are the claw, which I end up giving him, which is quite a scary cybernetic hand, and then we have the mouth with the big angry little teeth, and the only other thing he has in his hand is this overly large gun, which is like impractically large. I think it sells the idea that this guy really cares about doing some damage. Something I'm not entirely happy about just yet is the shape of the gun, which I'll come back to and do an entirely I'm going to do an entire video dedicated to weapon design for the game, so that'll be mostly covered in that. This is more of a placeholder at the moment to show that this gun is impractical and massive. I do end up changing it quite a few times in the process. So something I want to have as a through-way design, like something that all the characters will have in the Vermech faction, is whiskers, because they're all mostly like rodents and small mammals. The idea of these whiskers are like singed with damage, especially on this guy. I'm considering having one side a lot more normal looking, and then the side that's been damaged is small and seared to give a real cool asymmetry to the character. Okay, now I move on to a profile view because I really want to get across the right shape of the character's head, because I'm going to be doing this in 3D pretty soon, so I want to be able to block it in pretty easily. So I kind of wanted the nose to go really thin and then back to being long and pointy at the very end. Kind of gives like a triangular aggressive look to his face, especially in profile. I think in the end, when I do manage to make this in 3D, I might make his head or mouth bigger than it is here, or bigger than the final. This is more of a retrospective thing I have to see, because that's more or less the finished design, what you're seeing right now on screen. So it only occurred to me just now that I didn't do a side-by-side comparison to how big Mangler is in comparison to the Rip Runner. I'll do that at the end of the video so you can see, or just before the end of the video. I'll put it in profile next to the finished character. The finished breakdown standing front facing character. Right now I'm just moving on to the callouts. And I think I have to do quite a few. So I do the arm, the hand obviously, and where it connects to the body, and then I do the foot. So the cybernetic enhancements for the Vermech faction, they're more for practicality, intimidation, and utility. They're not really for, like, in canon, like they're not really for aesthetics. So they don't really care about the way they look. They're more about what can this do, why, as opposed to let's make this look nice, like a replacement limb. So as I go into colour, start adding some colour in a second, I thought I'd talk about where the project is at. So we've got one vehicle completely done, and the gunner caps is done and fully rigged up. The rigging just requires a little more fine tuning in terms of holding onto the turret while it moves around. Yeah, it's looking really cool. They've got some cool feedback with the way caps moves around in the back. I've fully textured caps now, and I'll put that on screen in a second, which I'm quite happy with. And then what we've got to come up, we've got the Rip Runner, and we're gonna fully rig that up and have that as the second vehicle for the demo. In total, I think we want to have 3 vehicles in the demo for the tests. That's gonna help us with balancing. I want to have little teams of 3. In the demo itself, there's only going to be the Vermechs, but there are other factions planned, which I'm really excited to get to, but I need to focus my ADHD and not skip ahead and just get this done. Yeah, we're getting to a really good point in the project. I'm getting really excited about the next stages. So in terms of the gameplay, we've got teams of 3, and each team has 3 different classes. So eventually we could add more, but for the demo itself we just want 3, and then we can match them up with each other and do some balancing to get a proper game feel. So at the moment we've got an all-rounder kind of vehicle, which is the first one I've done, which is the Hubs' car, and then we've got the Rip Runner, which is the one I did last, which is kind of like the speedster, and in this case kind of a close combat vehicle, a melee vehicle, which will not be the case for every single speedster. It might play a little bit differently for different factions, because the faction's identity is very different from each other. And finally, we had the idea of some kind of technical vehicle or a tank. So that is kind of a nebulous class at the moment, but I think as the development goes on, that'll become more clear of what that class is. I think the idea of a tank, we kind of got put off by it because you don't want to be left in the dust while the cars are zooming around, and also it would feel like the strongest vehicle if you can just blow everyone up from really far away like an actual tank. So we're just trying to figure out balancing and what that would look like. As for the vehicle itself, it'll be all bets are off on what that's going to look like. They had a very small idea of a vehicle manned by a few moles, like small mole guys, which would be quite fun. But yeah, that's all I've got so far. So something we've not really talked about since doing the repair station is the levels. So the levels are currently just a large like desert environment just for tests. Like it's a large desert environment. There's nothing really in it, just a bit of a test for texturing. But we do plan on doing a get together and having some gameplay tests, just the 3 devs, and we'll just have a see on how it plays, and we can just add basic geometry in a basic shape geometry like arena, so then we can start adding stuff later down the line in terms of like a more refined asset. And this gameplay test will be quite important because it's gonna give us a proper idea of how players interact with other players, because at the moment we're just usually fighting AI with the player. So it'll be really cool to get that feedback, and then we can figure out how levels should look and feel. So yeah, if you stuck around this long, thank you. We're going to be posting on Reddit quite a lot, in the indie game Reddit subreddit, and also in the concept art one for the moment. I think eventually I'll start adding stuff to the 3D communities, get some feedback. But for the moment, yeah, watch this space because things going to get really exciting pretty soon. And I'll see you guys in the next video.